Hello, everyone. This is Digital Trends Live. I'm Greg Nibbler, and coming up this week is scheduled to be the launch of the Mars rover Perseverance, another Mars mission for NASA. And to talk about all of that and walk us through what's going to be happening with this exciting time, we have Georgina Torbet. Georgina, as always, hello. This is an exciting week for space. And to start off with, I guess, to give everybody kind of an idea, what is this mission all about?
Sure. So this is a really exciting mission because it's one of the first missions that's aimed primarily at looking for evidence of ancient life on Mars. So scientists are pretty sure that there's nothing living on Mars now, but they have pretty good reason to think that there could have been millions of years ago. They know that Mars was similar to Earth in a lot of ways, that it had a lot of water on its surface, that it had a thicker atmosphere. So they think there might have been microbial life at some point in the planet's history. And so the point of Perseverance is really to go out and to look for evidence of that life, which is a really exciting mission.
So with that, how do they go about looking for the evidence? What specifically are some of the things that Perseverance is going to be able to do?
So one of the main ways that they look for evidence is by looking at the rocks that you can find on the planet. So firstly, you can look at the rocks with cameras, or you can use instruments called spectrometers, which use light to analyze rock samples. And the idea is they're looking for, very often they look for sedimentary rocks, which are rocks with different layers that are laid down over time. And so if you found a whole bunch of layers that seemed to be mostly similar, and then right in the middle, there was a layer of something unusual, then that would give you an indication that something really important happened at that period of history. And so they're looking for things like unusual rock formations, which suggest that there might have been something biological going on, and also what are called organic compounds, which are particular kinds of chemicals that are associated with the presence of life.
And one of the other things that I know that they're doing too is we always talk about how eventually when people want to get people to the surface of Mars, Elon Musk wants to, NASA wants to, everybody wants to get somebody there. And I know there's some tests that they're also doing in association with that to kind of prepare for it. Is that right?
That's right. There's a very exciting instrument going on board Perseverance called MOXIE. And the idea of this instrument is that it's a test of whether it's possible to take in carbon dioxide and produce oxygen. Because obviously oxygen is really important for humans. We need it to breathe. But also for future manned missions, what we really need oxygen for is to act as propellant for fuel. So when you burn fuel, like whether it's in your car or whether it's a log on the fireplace, as well as the actual fuel, it's using a lot of the oxygen in Earth's atmosphere to create that reaction. And as Mars has very, very little oxygen in the atmosphere, it's really difficult to do something like propel a rocket from the Martian surface up into orbit. And so the idea is if this machine works and it's possible to create oxygen, then you could send a ship full of technology either 2 to 4 years in advance of any human party and have it sat on Mars and producing oxygen and storing it all up in a tank. So when humans did arrive, they would have all the oxygen they need ready to go right there on the surface for them.
That's so cool. Going from that, and again with this launch that's coming up later on this week, it's not the only launch towards Mars. It's certainly been a popular planet here over the last couple of weeks for other space agencies too. Can you fill us in on what some of the other ones were?
Yeah, there's going to be 3 launches to Mars this summer, which is very exciting. So just recently there was the United Arab Emirates launched the HOPE mission, which is going to go into orbit around Mars and collect data on the Martian atmosphere, looking at weather and that sort of thing. And then China has also recently launched a probe to Mars called, I believe, Tianmen-1. And so it's a real target of research, though of course it's very difficult to get to Mars. And throughout the history, approximately half of all missions to Mars have failed to get there. So it's a real big technological challenge, but with 3 missions launching, like the odds are looking good that we'll have some new instruments in orbit or even on the surface of Mars, which is very exciting.
I love the fact that more countries, more agencies are launching them. I mean, the competition's always good when it comes to this, but just showcasing if we can get more up there, it's sorry, I get excited about it. Okay, I know I have one last one last thing here just to ask you about too, and that's something that I think is really cool is this helicopter that's going up with this launch. Can you tell us the details on that?
Yeah, there's a really amazing project that tucked in alongside the Perseverance rover. There's a teeny tiny little helicopter called Ingenuity. And the idea is that Ingenuity isn't going to look for science data. It's a pure technological test that no one has ever tried to fly a helicopter on another planet before. So it's really experimental. And the scientists want to know if it's like technologically feasible to fly heavier than aircraft on a different planet. And so there's this amazing piece of technology that is very small and very light. Because the Martian atmosphere is so thin, it's only about 1% the density of Earth's atmosphere. It's very difficult to get the kind of lift that you need to fly a helicopter. So they've made it extremely small and extremely lightweight with very large rotors that spin very, very quickly. And potentially it can charge itself using a solar panel, and it can navigate somewhat autonomously. And the idea is eventually, if this works, this could be used for scouting out ahead of rovers to find paths, of like identifying targets of interest for scientific research. It could be used for accessing places like very high mountaintops or very deep canyons where rovers can't go. There's just so much potential for what could be done with helicopters on Mars. And so that's a really exciting test, which I can't wait to see how that works out. And that's going to be great.
Oh, the footage that they would be able to get with something like that, it'd be amazing. So that's all part of this too, part of this launch in particular. And that's, again, scheduled for July 30th. That's when the window opens up anyway for the launch for this Mars Perseverance rover and the helicopter and everything that goes with it. And we've got a lot of coverage at digitaltrends.com, so somebody can follow along there with everything that's happening with it. If you want to read more in-depth articles, Georgina's got you up to date on everything. It's so exciting. And Georgina, as always, thank you so much for being here on the show to talk about this.
My pleasure, Greg. Really nice to speak with you.